everybody, this is Alex from Hardcore Guides, bringing my guide for God Hand on hard difficulty. Today we're doing stage 2-2 entitled Human Fireworks Equals Party. So, you have two barrels at the front door, and as you saw, I used one barrel to at least do a decent bit of damage. And, you know, if you want to use the other barrel after you use the first one, go right ahead. There's plenty of fire things around for you to use, which I believe you can knock enemies into fire. Sorry about my commentary. It's been a little bit since I've done some commentary stuff. I've kind of forgotten how to do this again, I guess, apparently. One big thing I can tell you is that this area is full of weapons. So if you happen to have some trouble fighting, whether it be one of the bigger guys or just regular enemies anyway, if you hit an enemy with a fire, with a torch, then he'll, you know, let go of it, and that gives you basically just a free weapon on hand. And you also have to play like a little bit of a Mario Party minigame, where you kind of have to just watch out for the fuses, which it's not that bad. You have plenty of time to stop the fuses from ever activating and killing the civilian, which, by the way, it's totally worth saving him. So, you know, that usually goes without saying. Now, another thing to keep in mind for this very first area is that enemies won't really spawn in until after, like, certain bits. I don't think it's a time thing. I think it's more so, like, if you kill off one set of enemy, another group will probably spawn right after. From my playthroughs of this part in particular, because, to be fair, I guess a humble brag, I don't find this part of the stage remotely even that hard. A little bit scary sometimes with the fuses, but that's about it. And like I said, you got plenty of time, but sometimes I'm like, oh man, you know, I hope I don't forget to go get rid of them. But for the most part, this part's not that bad, really, because, again, you have two barrels to throw at enemies, you got plenty of weapons around, so really, at that point, it's just taking out a few mooks, and, you know, leave the fat guys for last if need be, because they can't carry weapons, so they can't light anything. These guys, I don't think, have a set spawn point, so even if I was to run all the way back here, I'm not going to be able to de-aggro them. It's one of those cases of, even though they clearly have a spot where they spawn from, it's one of those things where, I was talking about this earlier in an earlier part, where essentially they won't go back to that same spot anymore, which is very aggravating. It could be because the fact that the door I came from is too close to where they're at. That could be a potential chance, but I don't know. Sometimes this game is weird with that. And just for those that aren't aware of what I'm referencing, basically enemies have like a certain spot where they're standing at, and if you aggro them, whether it be taunt or they see you or whatever, you can get them to chase you for a certain amount of time, and then they'll just back up and run away. They'll run back to where their original spawn point is, quote-unquote. And sometimes that happens to not happen. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, which is fine. Now, real quick, I would suggest, if you're going to take on the fairy challenge, I would say just keep these guys alive and go to the fairy challenge first, and then deal with these guys. So that way, in the off chance, because it's a wave fight, I try to go do it. I lose, and I just skip it. Because if you happen to win one of these challenges, you will come back with whatever health you have and whatever tension you have. Tension being, of course, the God Hand bar, which is something I always forget to call it. And also, you know, if you're going to do the fairy challenge, keep the boxes in the rooms around. Again, just in the off chance that health can spawn. And, you know, potentially orbs and stuff like that, because I got super lucky. That's what pretty much God Hand kind of boils down to at the end of the day, is just getting lucky with good runs. So if you're ever having a hard time beating a stage, the best advice I can give you, just keep at it, and you'll get it. Anyway, that's it for this, so take care, everybody.